Hare Rama Rama Shri Shri Radha Madhava ki jai, Shla Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, Chapter 29, Explanation of Devotional Service. Text is 23. Please repeat after me. Dvishatah parakaye mam. Dvishatah parakaye mam. Manino bina darshinaha. Manino bina darshinaha. Bhuteshu Bhuta Vairasya. Bhuteshu Bhuta Vairasya. Namana Shantim Richati. Namana Shantim Richati. Dvishata Parakaye Mam. Manino Bina Darshinaha. Bhuteshu Bhuta Vairasya. Namana Shantim Richati. Vishata Parakaye Manino Bhuteshu Balavara. Namana Shantim Richati. Nishata Parakaye Manino Bina Darshina. Bhuteshu Namana Shantim Richati. Dvishata, of one who is envious. Parakaye, towards the body of another. Mam, unto me. Maninaha, offering respect. Bina Darshinaha, of a separatist. Bhuteshu, towards living entities. Buddha Vairasya, of one who is inimical. Na, not. Manaha, the mind. Shantim, peace. Richati, attains. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. One who offers me respect but is envious of the bodies of others and is therefore a separatist never attains peace of mind because of his inimical behavior towards other living entities. Purport. In this verse, two phrases, Bhuteshu, Buddhavairasya, inimical toward others, and Dvijatah Parakaye, envious of another's body, are significant. One who is envious of or inimical toward others never experiences any happiness. A devotee's vision, therefore, must be perfect. He should ignore bodily distinctions and should see only the presence of the part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, and the Lord Himself in His plenary expansions as Super Soul. That is the vision of a pure devotee. The bodily expression of a particular type of living entity is always ignored by the devotee. It is expressed herein that the Lord is always eager to deliver the conditioned souls who have been engaged within material bodies. Devotees are expected to carry the message or desire of the Lord to such conditioned souls and enlighten them with Krishna consciousness. Thus, they may be elevated to transcendental spiritual life, and the mission of their lives will be successful. Of course, this is not possible for living entities who are lower than human beings, but in human society, it is feasible that all living entities can be enlightened with Krishna consciousness. Even living entities who are lower than human can be raised to Krishna consciousness by other methods. For example, Shivananda Sena, a great devotee of Lord Chaitanya, delivered a dog by feeding him prasad. Distribution of prasad or remnants of foodstuffs offered to the Lord, even to the ignorant masses of people and to animals, give such living entities the chance for elevation to Krishna consciousness. Factually, it happened that the same dog, when met by Lord Chaitanya at Puri, was liberated from the material condition. It is especially mentioned here that devotee must be free from all violence, jivahimsa. Lord Chaitanya has recommended that devotee not commit violence to any living entity. Sometimes the question is raised that since vegetables also have life and devotees take vegetables foodstuffs, isn't that violence? Firstly, however, taking some leaves, twigs or fruit from a tree or plant does not kill the plant. Besides that, jivahimsa means that since every living entity has to pass through a particular type of body according to his past karma, although every living entity is eternal, he should not be disturbed in his gradual evolution. A devotee has to execute the principles of devotional service exactly as they are, and he must know that however insignificant a living entity may be, the Lord is present within him. A devotee must realize this universal presence of the Lord. Om Jnana-timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshuru Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guru Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Once more verse. Dvishatah parakaye mam manino bina darshinaha bhuteshu buddha vairasya namana shantim richati. One who offers me respect but is envious of the bodies of others and is therefore a separatist never attains peace of mind because of his inimical behavior towards other living entities. So Kapila he's giving further instructions to his mother Devahuti, and this is also similarly explained by Krishna to Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita. Vidya vinaya sampane brahmanega vihastini shuni chaiva shvapakecha panditah samadarshinaha Krishna is explaining to Arjuna that elevated souls, that they see with equal vision. They see learned Brahmana, a dog, an elephant, and a dog eater. With equal vision, they see super soul in living entity. And this is difficult to attain, because from the beginning we are developing this separatist mentality. And because of this separatist mentality, we came to this material world. We came here to enjoy. And because of this separatist mentality, because we cannot see brotherhood among living entities, we commit such sinful activities. And there are many wars fought over this separatist mentality. I grew up in a country which was one called Yugoslavia. It was communist country. And then in this country they lived different nations, different people lived there. And at one point Croats and Slovenians, they decided they did not want to live in this country anymore. So they proclaimed their independence. They proclaimed, okay, now this is Croatia. But the problem is that Serbs who lived in Yugoslavia, they wanted to stay in this country. And problem was that many Serbs live in Croatia. And when Croatia said, okay, this is now Croatian, many Serbs who were living there in Croatia, they didn't agree with this. They didn't want this. They didn't want to live in a other country, so to say. And history has it that then you have this separatist mentality that I am Serb, I am Croatian. And then in that period, these Serbian villages grew, so to say, in Croatia, you said. That only Serbs are allowed there. Although it was Croatia in that place, some Serbian villages, because most of inhabitants there were Serbs, so they would make roadblocks, and then they would check everybody who is coming to this village that he is a Serb. No Croatians were allowed in that village. And then gradually you could see that situation get worse and worse, and you got in that position that many killings were going on, many atrocities were taking place. That Croatians, they would come to Serbian village and they would kill people there, and they would banish them. They would say, go there. They would pack their things. They would burn their houses. And it was going vice versa. Serbs are also doing it like that. So we could see that this separatist mentality, it is nothing new actually. Just from studying history, you could see that this separatist mentality is very very old, and it's still going on. You know, in previous times, even in this country, some 60, 70 years ago, it was like this Mr. Mustache who was in power, and he was thinking that German people, they are more than people. They are supreme, and these other people, they are lower than animals. So he came to this thinking. So it is nothing new. Even now, some wars are going on like this. In Africa, you have, in Rwanda, there was a great genocide between Tutsis and Hutus. That different tribes were battling amongst themselves, killing other people, just because they are different, so to say. Even in a little bit longer history, you have this slavery was very prominent. But not only in America. When you say slavery, you think it's only America, but actually in many European countries, slavery was there, in Portugal, in England, and so only based on a man's skin, because people were darker and they were not so materially advanced, so to say. Many Europeans and American ships, they came to Africa and they just took these people and make them slaves. It is horrible if you just think about it. And all this history, actually, it is repeating itself. It is repeating itself. Why? Because of this separatist mentality. Divisions are there, actually, because Krishna created it, and he said it to Arjuna. Chatur Varnya Maya Shrishtam Guna Karma Vibhagashaha. Krishna is explaining to Arjuna that actually there is division. We are not all the same, but these divisions, they are according to guna and karma, according to our activities and according to our character. These divisions are there, actually. We are not all the same, but sadly, in India, this was perverted in this caste system, and now you have brahmanas and shudras. In history, in Indian history, that brahmanas that they were thinking themselves very much elevated, and shudras, they were like dogs. In previous times, that when shudra was going on a street, he would yell that he is coming here, he's passing here. He should yell that Brahmana knows that Shudra is coming. I should not even look at him. And I also experienced this when I was trying to visit some temples in South India. That these smarta Brahmanas, that they were saying, no, you cannot enter. You have a white skin. You cannot come inside. You are Shudra. You cannot see the Lord. You are not purified enough. This is this perverted reflection of these things. But even before, if you study Mahabharata also, because Karna, who was a great warrior and who was actually a demigod, he was a son of Suryadev, but still, because his mother abandoned him, Kunti Devi, and abandoned him, and then he was accepted by Sutta family, by family of charioteers. He was driving a charioteer. And in this point, this Sutta family, they were considered the low class. And because of this, Karna was considered lower class. Either he was a demigod, he was a great personality. He was denied his rights, actually. When Draupadi, when she had this Swayamvara ceremony, when she searched for her husband, there was one shooting competition there, just to make sure that qualified persons get married to Draupadi. And when Karna, when he wanted to try to win Draupadi, he was denied. Because Draupadi told him, I will not accept a Sutta son as a husband. She was saying, who are you? You are a low class. I will not accept you. So we can see that even in this times that this division is going on, that clouds people's mind. But actually, we are all brothers and sisters. And I don't know, I was thinking, what needs to happen that we will accept each other as brothers and sisters? I remember reading a book, War of the Worlds by Wells. And inside, this is like science fiction. Inside it, some ETs, some extraterrestrials from other planets come to visit planet Earth, and they try to conquer planet Earth. And then mankind unites against this enemy from outer space. So I was also thinking, maybe if this also happens on our planet, that then people will unite. Actually, then people will see, oh, we are actually we have a common enemy. But this is also not proper thinking, because even lower animals are our. Even in lower animals there is a super soul, because now my daughter she's in that age that she asks so many questions. Mommy, what is this? What is this? She wants to know everything, and my wife is going crazy. every 2 seconds, my daughter is asking, what is this? What is this? What is this? And then we teach her. When she saw the ant, we teach her that even an ant, it is a spirit soul. You are also spirit soul, and this small ant, it is also spirit soul. And then she asked, can I step on it? And then we say, no, not a chance. You cannot step on even on an ant. And when we show her that when we have some spiders in the room, we have some spider catcher that you can catch a living spider and then you throw him out of the window. And we show our daughter that, see, we caught this spider and we are throwing him out. We don't just kill him. Like Prabhupada is saying here, that we should avoid this jiva himsa. But sadly, this is we have to say, this is impossible to avoid. Sadly, we have to say it, because, for example, when you start a fire, you kill so many living entities you cannot see. And also, when you are going on a street, you are not always looking down, that you may crush some ants. Also, when you are driving on an autobahn, so many bugs get stuck in your windshield. So in that way, sadly, living in this world without violence, it's impossible. And then Prabhupada is explaining in this purport that some people say that you are like vegetarians, but actually you are killing the plants. And then what is our argument is that yes, but most of these plants actually are not killed. If you think about it, these grains which is harvested, these grains are mostly already died. They had their cycle for 1 year, and these grains they are dry. They are already killed. But still, there are some plants that actually kill for our satisfaction. But our argument is also that you cannot compare the consciousness of a plant and of an animal actually. Because plants actually have lower consciousness, and it is not so sinful as killing a living entity, killing an animal for your pleasure. And I know, because when I wanted to preach to my mother and to my brother that they should switch to vegetarian diet but sometimes it's impossible. And then I already gave up. I said, what is the use? But here Prabhupada is explaining that the people if we cannot preach to the people, at least we should give them prasad. Because Prabhupada is explaining in this purport, he is acknowledging power of foodstuffs that are offered to the Lord. And he's saying that even lower animals like dogs can be purified by eating prasad. And and Prabhupada, he was very insistent that whoever visited him, that he gets prasad. And there was Madhu Dvish, this disciple of Prabhupada. He was telling one story that one Indian gentleman came there to Prabhupada, and then Prabhupada tried a little bit to preach to this Indian gentleman, but it didn't work very well. So at the end, this Indian gentleman was leaving, and then Prabhupada said, "Give him some prasad. Give him anything." Prabhupada was always insisting that guests get prasad. And this there was nothing. This Indian gentleman, he received this rasgulla, but they didn't have anything to give him. They gave him only in a hand. And this rasgulla is very liquid. And Madhu Dvisha was laughing. He was holding this rasgulla and was like with sugary water, and he was going outside with this. It was very funny. Anyway, yes, this separatist mentality is very strong, and we know in a fourth canto, it is described there that once lived a great king Uttanapad. Uttanapad, he had two wives, Suniti and Suruchi. But his favorite was Suruchi. And he had a son, two sons. One was Uttama, he was the son of Suruchi, and one was Dhruva, he was the son of Suniti. And Uttama, he was sitting on a king's lap. And Dhruva also wanted to come to father's lap, but because father said you cannot come, because Suruchi was there and he wanted to please his favorite wife. He wanted, and he denied his son that he can come to his lap to sit on it. And Suruchi also said, you cannot sit on a father's lap because you're not born from my body. And then Dhruva, he was very sad. And then his mother also could not help him. And his mother told him that he should go to the forest and ask Supreme Personality of Godhead for help. And we know that Dhruva Maharaj, he was a very young boy. He was only 5 years old. But he was very determined. And Narad Muni, he he met Dhruva Maharaj. And he laughed and he said, "You are only boy." And and he said, "It is very wonderful, this Kshatriya spirit, that even a small offense you cannot take it." And he tried to dissuade Dhruva Maharaj from doing these austerities. But Dhruva Maharaj, he was very fixed. And then Narada Muni, he initiated him in mantra, and he initiated him in that he could perform some austerities, and in that way he will please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And eventually we know that Dhruva Maharaj, even as a small boy, he did a very, very severe austerities for many, many days. And during these austerities, these different demigods, they became afraid, because in previous times, when these saintly persons, when they did some great austerities, then earth will become more hot, and earth will tremble, and in that way, many living entities will become fearful. And in that way, demigods, they appeared in front of the Lord, and they told him everything. But he already knew, and he said them, "Don't worry, I will satisfy Dhruva Maharaj." And then he appeared in front of Dhruva Maharaj. But what is the point? That Dhruva Maharaj, he started doing these austerities because he wanted great kingdom. He said to Narada Muni, "I want kingdom which is bigger than my grandfathers." And his grandfather was Brahma, and you can see Brahma. He is the main personality in material world. And Dhruva Maharaj, he paid obeisances to the Lord when he saw him. And then Supreme Personality of Godhead gave him even one planet, Dhruvaloka. He gave him the planet Dhruvaloka only for himself. It is described there that this is like a Vaikuntha planet in material world. This is like a spiritual planet in material world. And Dhruvaloka, and Dhruva Maharaj, he will be in charge for this planet. So he satisfied Dhruva Maharaj, and he left. And then Dhruva Maharaj, he was lamenting. He was feeling sorry, because he was thinking, what did I do? I just asked for some material gain. And Supreme Personality of Godhead, he could give me his association, his eternal association. And I ask only for a broken glass. He would say like that. So even in this example, we can see that this separatist mentality is very present, and it's very difficult to get rid of this separatist mentality. But we should try it by associating the devotees and reading Srila Prabhupada's books and following the previous acharyas, and in that way we will gradually start to see that all living entities are actually, Super Soul is in all living entities. I remember from early age, I didn't so much identify actually with country I grew up in, because I grew up in Yugoslavia, which fell apart, and then I was a part of Croatia. Jai Shri Shri Lakshmana Seyade Bhagavan Ki Jai. But then actually then when I did get older, I knew from my parents that actually my ancestors were Serbs. So I was actually Serb living in Croatia. And then when I was teenager, we used to go to these national football matches when Croatia was playing against some other country. And then we would yell, these people will yell, "We Croatians." This was the yelling in football match. And I was also yelling, "We Croatians," but actually I was thinking about, actually I was not so much Croatian. My ancestor was Serb, so I didn't very well identified very good with this crowd, and this is actually very funny, because nowadays you have this you have this football match, this World Cup is going on, and then other nations play football against other nations, and then when the team loses, the whole country is crying that so many people are. So because of this separatist mentality, it's actually very dangerous. We know it because of history. We know that people are dividing themselves. All these divisions are going on, and then you think, I am this, but these are all different upadis, all different designations, so to say. These are all different designations, and we should be very careful to avoid these things. That we should know that we are spirit soul, and we are eternally. We have to be eternally engaged in Krishna's service, and in that way, gradually we will become purified, and in that way, gradually, when we become elevated, then we would see in every living entity there is a super soul. Like there is no difference. Like Govinda Dev, when he was giving this lecture, and he said about this vegan and vegetarian movement out of Krishna consciousness, it's very getting stronger and stronger. And he was saying that there was some gathering, and they were collecting some signatures for save the whales, save the dolphins, and then this devotee said, "What about the pigs? What about the cows? Why are they different?" Because whales, they are big, and these dolphins, they look very nice swimming in the ocean. And when you look at the cow, and she's in her shoina, sitting in her dirty, and you think, it's just a pig. But actually, no, it's not like that. It's actually hypocritical. Actually, we should know it. That actually we are all living entities, and every living entity has a right to live. We cannot kill it. But still, as I said, some animals are still getting killed by us by chance, and in that way we don't get so much so heavy reaction. We get some reaction, but the reaction is not so heavy, because we are killing animals unknowingly, and we are not killing them because of our pleasure, because of our satisfaction. But still, that's why whatever food we prepare, we offer it to Krishna, and in that way, Krishna, by accepting these foodstuffs, he makes it pure. He purifies in that way, and in that way it becomes prasad, it becomes the mercy of the Lord. And in that way, when we take it, we become purified. So okay, I would like to stop here. Maybe if there are some questions or maybe comments.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you for your lecture. It was very nice, interesting, and inspiring. Oftentimes when I'm in school, my classmates, they ask me about karma because that's the interesting thing about the thing I live here for them. And then they often ask detailed questions like what happens if you unknowingly or unwantedly kill somebody and so on. And yeah, then it's difficult for me to explain. I had something certain in my mind, but I forgot now, I think.
Yeah, it would be good that if you have some specific question, what did they ask you?
It's weird now, I forgot my point because it's I didn't know how to answer on that.
But you don't remember what?
No. Okay, I'm sorry.
No problem. Yeah, Bhakta Bashar wants to. No, I will later.
I just want to share that since I think last week I have a group with my brothers, so I have two brothers and they are older than me, and one is sending like, yeah, this country, I don't know which Arabian country, Morocco won on France, something like this, and like Jai, both of them.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, wait, are they like trying to fool me or are they serious? Because I forgot all about football and I thought that they are not interested anymore in football. So yesterday also, today I woke up and they're like, yes, Morocco is reached the final, like how do you call it, semi-final. And they were so happy. And then I was just thinking now when you mentioned this point that how people are crying, and I remember when I was young, I was also crying for, another country because, but it's just really interesting how people around the world now, millions are crying and, being lamenting and becoming happy for designating themselves with this football team, national team. So it's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. I just wanted to return a little bit to Bhakta Bjorn's question, but just a small, little bit general explanation, so that you can say to them that karma is a little bit subtle. There are some subtleties that we cannot so much explain. For example, that animals they don't get karma actually because they don't know what they are doing. Their consciousness is not so much developed, but it is described that all animals are gradually advancing toward human form of life. They are gradually advancing. But for example, when a tiger kills something for a food, he does not get bad karma, he does not go back. Then, when we reach human form of life, it's like a crossroad. You can advance, or you can lower yourself. So it's like a human form of life is like a crossroad, And in that way, we have to be very careful to do good things, nice things, which are pious, which are according to the scriptures, according to our acharyas. And in that way, we will advance, Otherwise, you are going backwards, If you are eating meat, because of satisfaction of a tongue, you are killing some other animal. This is very difficult to explain to people. I know I had the trouble always with my mother, to explain to her. This is only because of our wrong upbringing. It comes to this. it's very difficult to explain to people that eating meat is sinful. They cannot comprehend this actually. It's very difficult to explain to this that eating animals is sinful, and just they cannot take this point. And my mother, she was trying to, how will you live? I know I became vegetarian as a teenager, and she could not, she had this point. Well, she was not actually informed. Actually, only if you are informed good about these things, you can just explain. There's so many things to eat other than animals. And also there are some this karma. It has to go together with reincarnation. It has to go together with this law. It has to go. Otherwise, you cannot explain it good. You cannot explain it because some karma we are transferring from previous lives. Something we are bringing, from previous life also, And some sinful activity we do, and it stays in us. This sinful activity, it's like a seed. You did something sinful, and it's like a small seed put in us, and gradually this seed will become fruit, meaning that in some time we will have to answer for this sinful activity. It becomes there, it's stuck in us. And when we'll fructify, we don't know actually. Maybe not in this life, maybe in next life. So you have to explain it, this law of karma, together with reincarnation. It has to go together. It has to go together.
Thank you for the explanation. I remember my point that I wanted to make, and because karma is very entangling. So if you kill a cow, for example, if you kill a cow, I think the karma was that you are getting killed as many hairs as the cow has, for example. But this, of course, I can't explain. But even if I explain to them, as you explained, that eating plants, which is what we are doing, is less sinful, it's still sinful, and we are still crushing some small living entities under our feet, and it's also entangling in this material world, whatever we do, and that's so difficult to explain to them. So what the solution is, because I can't preach to them that they should worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because that is too much for them, of course. But that is the solution for this entanglement. But otherwise I don't know how to. And that's the problem. I don't know how to tell them, because it seems so bad, and it is bad because it's so entangling. But
well, for some people that you let prasadam preach, like for some people their only solution, like with my mother and brother, I could see, and I stopped. Okay, I cannot, like Jesus Christ, he told, you cannot preach in your village. He told like this because everybody is thinking, my mother is thinking, this is my small boy, what does he know, So I cannot preach to my mother anymore. So I sometimes cook something nicely, I offer to Shadbhuj, and I offer to my mother, and gradually she will advance. And gradually she is advancing, because every time I call her, I say Hare Krishna. I don't say hi, ciao or something. I say Hare Krishna. And then it was strange at the beginning, but gradually, now she's starting Hare Krishna. And she says always to me, when we hear each other, when she picks up the phone, she says Hare Krishna. And when we are finishing the conversation, I say Hare Krishna, she says Hare Krishna. So in that way, small things that like you said, but this karma is a little bit, it's. And also, before you become strong and strong in philosophy, just give them prasad, or even if it's possible, small book, Just they don't have to, maybe at the beginning, to give you something, money or something. You can give them as a gift, for example, and then you can pay. Give them as a gift, and in that way, that maybe they will open and read a few lines, and it's difficult. Yeah. Vedasara, you wanted to say something, to add something.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for your lecture, Prabhu.
Hare
Yeah, I wanted to comment on that point because Bhakta Bjorn Prabhu said that it's difficult for him to explain why it's necessary to offer the food, or how to get rid of that entanglement situation of that we have to eat bodies. Yeah, that was also a point that somehow or another I sometimes feel quite weird that in this world we have to eat other bodies. That for itself is worth to talk about. And but the for me most important point in that situation is that we are only in this world because we want to enjoy it, and we are separated from God. And if we come to that point that we realize that we are suffering here, and we want to have a solution, then you can explain that there's a spiritual world where everything is blissful, full of knowledge, full of being, and that we are only here because we have still lessons that we don't do sinful activities anymore, rather than doing devotional service to the Lord, and that this is much more better for us. And because most of the people, they don't want to realize that they are suffering. They always say, no, I'm good, everything is fine, you're not like this. But when you have to come to that point that you want to finish that, you are finished with material life, and then through devotional service, I mean, I can't say no scriptural evidence, but I know that through devotional service, all the seeds of karma is like they are getting fried, so they can't sprout anymore. I heard that many times, and why is that like that? Because when you know what the ultimate goal of life is, what kind of lesson you should have to learn. So Krishna says, okay, he knows, he does already service, he wants to do good for other living entities, and so the seeds of karma get destroyed.
Thank you for this comment. Now I have another question, because there's one certain classmate, and he's very inspired. He often asks questions, especially with his karma and other philosophical things. And he had a look in Beyond Birth and Death in the book, and there was this picture of these horses, which are compared to the soul, which is the Fahrgast, the passenger. And then he glorified actually this Bhagavad Gita verse. He said it's the most intelligent sentences he has ever heard, and that was very nice. And but he's in the mood, and we had a nice conversation. Actually, the whole 6 lessons we had a conversation about the philosophy here, and then he said his most blissful times is when he's drunk with his friends. And he says he cannot imagine something more, that he's somewhere more happy than to this time. And then I couldn't say anything more. I couldn't say, but this is suffering because afterwards your body is very dirty and hurts, and you have to pay money and whatever. I mean, if he says he's so happy when he's intoxicated, it's difficult to preach.
Ignorance is bliss. What did they say? No, but you should explain. I mean, everybody had experience, in this drinking, But actually, how do you feel the other day? You not feel so good, The other day is like completely wasted. I remember I also did so much intoxication, but then it's that night when you drink and it's very nice, but then when you go over it, when you overindulge in intoxication, then the next day it's just so much headache, it's hangover, you have to throw up, and It's not this. Actually, it's how you say acquired taste. Acquired taste, because, for example, ask him how did he feel when he first tried alcohol. I remember I tried from my father. Usually it's from our parents. From my father I tried beer, and from my mother I tried coffee, first time. But when you've tried first time, it's disgusting. You spit it out. I remember when I tried beer, it was so bitter. I could not understand why he's drinking that. At the beginning, you cannot understand why is he drinking that. You cannot see the pleasure in drinking that. Also in coffee, also in cigarette. I remember when I started to smoke, my first cigarette was awful. I felt dizzy in my head. I felt like I have to vomit. These are poisoning. This is acquired taste. You have to do it for some time, and then you acquire this taste. And then you think, oh, I cannot do it without it. But actually it's just poison. It's poisoning your body. And your first reaction is actually your true reaction. This is your super soul. Krishna inside you is telling you, this is not good for you. This is not good for your body. I mean, even if you go to the woods, and if you get lost in the woods, and you come across some berries, and you don't know which berries are these. Are they poisonous? Are they good for me? And if you try berries, and if they are not good, actually they would taste bitter or something. You have to spit them. It's very rare. There's some poison. It would feel good for you. So in that way, this it's difficult because your friend is like most of us are like he's in tamogun. This is intoxication is tamogun, and then you think you are enjoying. This is a little bit difficult because it's tamoguna, and he needs to gradually. We need to purify ourselves to come to sattva gun, But just try to explain to person that actually alcohol is not healthy. Otherwise, so many scientists are saying, oh, only one glass of wine is actually very good for you a day. But this is all bogus. Actually, it's not alcohol. It's not good for you. And I hope when science gradually develops more that they could see. Also meat, eating meat, gradually they are starting to think actually meat is not good for digestion actually. They are gradually starting to see these things, so in that way, yeah.
Ja, ist ein ganz interessantes Thema. Ich denke mal, aufgrund unserer sogenannten Entwicklung gehen wir immer weiter alten Sünden nach oder vermehrt den Sünden nach. Wir kommen nicht mit der Quelle der Dinge so in Berührung, so wie früher. Wenn man da Fleisch essen wollte, dann musste man meistens selber die Tiere erlegen. Und heute kommt man damit gar nicht mehr in Berührung. Da ist Fleisch, man hat gar keine Ahnung, wo kommt das Fleisch her. Ach so, da mussten Tiere für sterben. Das ist vielen gar nicht bewusst. Die kaufen die Dinge, verzehren die und denken, sie haben ein Recht darauf, die zu essen. Und ja, das ist katastrophal. Die Grundlage eines normalen Lebens ist eigentlich immer das Wissen. Und dieses ganze Wissen ist immer mehr verloren gegangen. Und dadurch ist die Menschheit so sündvoll geworden und sich dessen nicht mal bewusst, dass das Sünden sind. Und ich hatte mal einen Sketch gesehen, da saßen Gäste im Restaurant und bestellten alle ein Steak. Und der Ober brachte den Gästen dann, also dem einen Gast, ein Messer und führte den in so einen Schlachtraum.
Ja.
Da kam ein Schwein auf ihn drauf,
Ja,
so
ja.
ein richtig niedliches Schwein.
Ja.
Und der saß da und wollte das Schwein streicheln und so.
Ja.
Und dann wurde ihm bewusst, ach so, das ist ja, dann ließ er sein Messer fallen.
Ja.
Und daraufhin kam dann nachher die Schlichter rein und haben ihn rausgeschmissen und haben das Schwein geschnappt. Und dann hat man bloß das Schwein schreien gehört und er ist dann wieder ins Restaurant und hat sich total geekelt und konnte kein Fleisch mehr essen. Und so ist das mit so vielen Sachen, ob das Zigaretten sind. Es wird ja so viel Werbung. Früher wurde ganz viel Werbung dafür gemacht und den Leuten war gar nicht bewusst, was das für Folgen hat. Einmal für die Gesundheit und dann auch für ihr Karma. Die wussten ja gar nicht, dass es Karma gibt, ja. Und das ist das Fatale, ja. Und wenn man, ja, jetzt wo die Aufklärungsarbeit ein bisschen mehr in Gange ist, da werden eben doch viele mehr zum Veganer, Vegetarier, ja. Also das ist, aber die anderen Verlockungen sind so groß, da haben die Leute keine Lust, sich damit zu befassen. Die wollen genießen und wissen gar nicht,
Yeah,
was sie
this is the
bevorsteht.
problem. This is the hypocrisy. This is the hypocrisy, because a lot of people they cannot they cannot kill animal, but still they are eating animals. This is the hypocrisy. Actually, if you raise your child, so many children are actually eating meat, but actually if you give them knife and say to them, if you want to eat meat, then go ahead, kill this chicken. Nobody could do it, not only children, the grown persons. Okay, let's start with chicken. Give them knife and kill this chicken. Can you do it? Nobody could do it. Nobody could. This is the hypocrisy of society. You wanted to say something? Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Alex.
Just a comment actually on this topic. Human body is run by the hormones. So there are happy hormones, there are sad hormones. So if you are very happy, there are really good hormones in your body, and then you feel very nice, you feel very energized, just because of it's a chemistry within you. As a scientist, I would say. If you are very sad, if you are frightened, then you have, they call it as a fright or flight mode. So it's a completely different chemical setup in your body, and that makes you sick because you are always in tense in that moment. Why I'm saying so? Because whenever the animals are killed, sacrificed, they are not happy in that moment. Right? They are frightened, so of course they are also releasing hormones, which in most of the animals they are similar to the human hormones. So when you eat that hormone-rich so-called food, then in that case, you are intoxicating yourself with hormones, which are not necessary for you, and that's the reason in today's world, those who are having such a food are having different illnesses. So maybe we can talk about this corona, how it came to humans, but then it's all about the bad things from the meat which comes into human, and then it makes us sick. So we have to think about this perspective also. And I think this Guruji's point was different, or?
No, he's.
Yeah. So, I mean, the point, I think you said that somebody is intoxicating himself and then he feels really joyous in that moment, yeah? So the point was about that. Maybe a comment on that also. You gain a knowledge about yourself and then detach from everything it's a detachment coming out of knowledge. So it's like you are looking at your life from a third person's view. So doing karma but detaching everything out of from the karma. So having that state is different than intoxicating yourself and doing something out of ignorance. So
Yeah. Yeah.
if it makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. That's why knowledge is very important. These books are very important. You know, he's doing this, your friend, because he does not know, you know. This is the also point, you know. Is ignorance, you know. Okay, we will stop here. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Premanande.